arguments for it that are subtly where you're kind of given this, and I'm like, well, what are you talking about there? And I think you're just, I think you want to feel good about your country, but don't get it to where it promises a utopia like it's a fucking religion. You know? You don't have to have a transcendent value like a futurist to some political utopia. It's silliness. What about right here, right now, what you're going to do in your fucking life, and the people that you converse with? Can you have a logical conversation with them? Can you think these things through with heart and own up to them to see the world as it is? And if you don't, and if, whatever you do, vote your conscience and go for it.
Yeah, this is, sorry, this is kind of an interesting thing here, and you know, this whole apologetic scheme of, you know, I'm going to vote for this guy, or I'm going to vote for that guy, rather than voting for the other parties or the other candidates and whatnot that would actually represent your views more than anything else, and people you could say that, yeah, these people are great guys. It's kind of like the lesser of two evils. You know, the conversation that we kind of got into over at a meeting on last Thursday at Sac City College. And the justification was basically, you know, the reason why they were voting for Obama was because of gay rights and women's rights and whatnot. And I find it really interesting is that when it comes down to it, you know, that they're going to vote for one of these two candidates to secure, really they're going to vote for Obama to secure women's rights and gay rights, which is fine. Which is fine. I mean, if they're going to do that, that's fine, really. But essentially, the context of the conversation was that that by voting for these other candidates, voting for these other individuals, they're essentially ignoring a lot of the other issues that are just probably more important in the outreach of the fact that they have far more ramification, a far larger ramification, and a far more desolate ramification than anything else, really, you know. One of the issues was economic inequality and things like social services, social health care, and whatnot. You know, Obama and Romney are both on the same fucking position as this, you know. I mean, Obama's smarter than Romney. He's not going to come out automatically and say that he's going to get rid of these fucking social programs or whatever, or he's going to try to make efforts to get out of them and all that stuff. He's not going to do that because he's always said he's going to have a lot of political backlash from the Democratic Party in many ways, you know. But at the same stroke, you know, there were people defending Obama, saying that he wasn't going to get rid of these things, and we were saying that yeah, he wasn't going, but he's not going to get rid of them drastically. He's going to either sabotage them to make sure that they don't work, such as what Bush and what Reagan tried to do, and whatnot, and what Nixon did with the healthcare system that we used to have. You know, and that's what he's going to do, really, you know, and then people will say, you know, well, if we vote for Romney and we put him in, you know, if he gets in charge, he's going to dismantle all those programs and all that stuff, and it's like, is he really going to do that? And if he does, don't you think that people will be rioting and uprising pretty damn fast if they do that? I mean, you know, it takes a large enough of people who are just pissed off enough and who have just lost some of the most important support that they have in order for things to start, you know, in order for a violent revolution to start up, you know. And that's not what the owners of this country want, really, you know. I mean, but really, when it comes down to it, that's sort of the justification that people end up giving for defending Obama. You know, they try to give off these weird arguments about how Romney's going to dismantle them all, even though Obama is going to do it slowly, bit by bit. Rather than one huge dismantling of it, and that's what's really going on here, you know. And You know, people see Obama. They see a guy they like. That they see that he has good rhetoric and all that bunch of stuff, really. But that's all candle on the fucking icing when you really get down to it. You know, I mean, sure, like, you know, the GOP and the Democratic Party's position on gay rights and women's rights are completely different. But when it comes to the stuff that actually matters, such as things like economic inequality, things like taxing the rich, things like, I don't know, ending the wars that we're currently in, reducing military spending, getting rid of the drug war, you know, legalizing drugs that don't need to be illegal, or decriminalizing them in many ways. They're all fucking the same. You know, on every single one of those issues, both Democrat and Republican are both the same, really. And those are the areas that matter most, because those areas have far more reaching consequences than simply women's rights and gay rights. Even though those do matter for those Democrats, so. But to be perfectly honest, yeah, like whatever.
Alright, hold on a second. I wrote a bunch of stuff down. Let me put this right here. Okay, one of the things you said, Galen, was that I can't be religious about who I vote for, or it couldn't be like a religion that I decide that I have to pick a party or pick someone and I have to stick with it out of duty to my country or whatever. Well, that's not the way I look at it. I don't think Obama. Hold on a second. I don't think. Fuck this window. Hold on. I don't think Obama is a perfect candidate, obviously. I honestly think the only perfect candidate is yourself. I mean, honestly, any of these people running are not perfect candidates. The thing is that a lot of these third-party candidates like Gary Johnson and Rocky Anderson, and these people don't have a power base, and I'm going to get to that later. I think not only the president is important, I think there's smaller offices, and I also think that you have to have, I mean, you know, Rocky Anderson or Gary Johnson can go in there with all these ideas. Even if they could theoretically win, but without a power base, they could not accomplish much of anything. I mean, look at what Obama, like, I mean, he's just getting opposition from the other side. Just to, even, because, you know, he concedes. That's what he does. He's trying to concede to the other side to get some parts of legislation through. He's giving up on things he wants. They don't like him. They don't want to work with him. He doesn't have any support. Like, they keep filibustering everything. Now, I know, you know, see, this is the thing. You guys look at it as, damn it. Okay, this is the thing. Now, there's the option of don't vote. Okay, now the problem with that is that when you don't vote, you're telling the powerful that you don't care. That you don't care who wins, you don't care who leads the country. The politicians will look at estimates of how many people are not voting, and frankly, I think that they are happier the less people that vote. That makes them happier because it means that they have to spend less money trying to convince people that do vote for them to vote for them. No, I know in the past Galen has. I don't know if he's that right now. But in the past, I know you have said that it's okay to not vote. Or not, that it's okay not to vote, but you advocate that. Maybe that's changed. I don't want to send the message that, you know, that I don't care, because I obviously do. I'm fine if you choose to vote for a third party. But the problem is I'm convinced that a third party candidate is a wasted vote if it is not backed by a major grassroots movement. You need to start with a small office and work your way up. That's my opinion. I have never, ever, ever believed in a protest vote because nobody reads a protest vote. The truth is, nobody cares if you vote for Jerry Johnson or Rocky Anderson because he's going to get less than 1% of the vote. You're talking about poll workers who are recording your vote and then they move on to the next ballot. If you're not talking about a significant percentage of people voting for, they're going to ignore it. Nobody's going to care. Like, nobody's going to care if you're going to vote for the Socialist Party or the Communist Party or all these fringe parties because they don't care. They're not going to. Nobody in power is going to see that message. A poll worker will see the message and they'll just like record it and move on to the next ballot. The only way to hit the power hard is with a sustained movement that starts not in an election year. It takes years and years to build these things up. Maybe the Occupy movement will eventually lead to such a thing, but obviously, as I said, I have my doubt about the Occupy movement. I honestly, the reason why I supported the Occupy movement at first is because I thought it was the best shot we had at actually making an alternative movement to the Democrat and Republican parties, and I don't see it working. I don't see it happening. It might happen in the future, but I just don't see it now. It needs to start. You know, I know. We need to Occupy. If it's Occupy, if it's some other movement, this is the other thing. I can't really lead a movement. I am not a revolutionary. I am willing to help out people if they have good ideas. I'm not this type of person where I go out and I start like going and starting movements, because when I've tried to do such things, I have never been successful at doing that. I am not that kind of a person. I'm much better off if someone gives me a like when I work for a campaign or a volunteer organization where I'm told this is what you need to do and this is how you can help, and that's kind of the way I prefer to work. Now, there are people that are much more capable and stable and mentally sane compared to me and can deal with this stuff without having emotional breakdowns as I do. I would prefer that those people are in charge of the movement because they have a lot more patience than I do, and they can direct people, and they are better at organizing people. They're managerial types. I'm not a managerial type. You need those types of minds. You need people that know how to organize people and move people and use them effectively. Because you might have a mass of people, but look at Occupy. They have all these people there, and they're not doing anything. Well, okay, they're doing a few things, but they're not doing enough. They're not being noticed. They're not making themselves much of an inconvenience. The last time I heard about Occupy in the news is when they protested the Democratic National Convention, and that was mostly the news media just covered that for the last because they see that Occupy as a left-wing movement, and they thought that it was I know that the right wing jumped on that and said, see, not even Occupy liked Obama, and that's the way they played that story. So I don't know if that's what they intended to do, but anyway, that's just what I feel. Like, it needs to be a new movement, and it's not going to happen by me checking a box. It's going to happen because people are going to get organized, be organized. And if you guys have suggestions other than like Occupy, is there another movement that I'm not aware of? Go ahead.
I'm not really going to attack the whole Occupy thing, even though I could probably do so with very effectiveness. But what I did want to attack here is this whole ordeal, this notion that somehow voting for a third party or a third candidate is essentially wasting your vote. Just because, just because there isn't much of a power base that these third parties might actually have, even if they do get into office. Yeah, fuck you, future hosts. All I'm just saying. But anyways, yeah, I just want to point out here that voting for I meant it in jest. I know you're just poking fun, but whatever. I guess you're just not like familiar with my kind of sense of humor. But anyways, yeah. The thing is that voting for a third party, it's not so much about voting for the candidate that will win, which is actually what you're saying here. When you're saying that voting for a third party is a waste of a vote, it's actually being consistent with your vote. To me, voting for a third party is not so much about voting for Gary Johnson because he will win, but it's because Gary Johnson seems to represent my views more so than most other candidates that I can see on the issues that I think are the most valuable. Like for example, okay, getting money out of politics. Is Obama really going to do that? If he did, he wouldn't have the campaign contributors that he does. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen them though. I think you have. Cerebrocaust, suddenly they linked you like Obama's campaign contributors, Romney's campaign contributors. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. 5 or 6 of the same contributors, both contributing to Romney and Obama and whatnot. But this seems to be a big issue for you. So why are you voting for Obama if it's a huge, big issue for you? When you could just be voting for any of the other candidates that do represent that view more so than anything else. Okay, whatever. Anyways, and this is what I'm trying to get across to you here, is that you shouldn't just vote for someone because they're going to win, or because they have a great amount of power base and because you like them. You should only vote for someone only if they actually represent your views, and actually if they understand what you're saying. So long as they can actually represent you in the areas that they matter, okay? And that's what I'm getting at here. But go ahead, Galen.
I want to clarify first about this issue of voting and not voting, since there seems to be ambiguity here, even though I discussed this last week and wrote it out to you. I will write it more out to you and send it to you again to discuss this week if you want to on Skype. I really want you to understand my position, okay? But I'm going to explain it a bit here first. One, regarding voting, intelligently look into all the candidates. This seems simple enough, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem pretty simple? There's a list of candidates. Let's check them out, right? Let's not go into social psychology and say, hey, who has the most YouTube views? Oh, who's the most popular here? Wow. Well, Justin Bieber's really popular. Maybe I should listen to him. No, I think that's pretty fucking ridiculous. You wouldn't do that. But, I mean, people do look at videos, and I'm sure we all have, where we look at our views to see if it has any worth. Okay? This is what a lot of people do. That's how they look at videos. They don't actually think about what they're really doing. They just kind of surf the internet. That's what people do. They just kind of float around and mindlessly pick up shit. This is how what I keep citing Edward Bernays' politics works, because people are not critically thinking. Okay? They're not. They're just taking stuff in and sucking down the milkshakes, okay? They are, you know. Well, it's more like there will be blood. They're sucking your fucking milkshake and getting what they want. People do propaganda. You know, you talk about the people in the Middle East are duped, and they are. And it's not like they're critically thinking about these positions, Daedamot. They're easily duped. People are easily persuaded to things. I was trying to invoke for you to think more critically only of yourself. I want you to be more beat yourself up. You don't need to be beating these other people up, but beat your own opinions up. That's the source of a wise person, to know your own ignorance. Is it not of Socratic wisdom? Please, think about this. I really mean this. You need to get this. This matters. This fucking matters. If your vote matters, then you need to know if you're being wise, and you need to know where you're ignorant. Every person should. So, do you vote for someone? First of all, like in anything with the art of war, you know yourself, you know your environment. You know the environment's corrupt as fuck. But what about you? How can you be easily persuaded in such a corrupt environment? We already went through nature versus nurture earlier. So, let's look at that. Where is it getting fucked up? You know, I didn't vote in the 2008 election. I didn't see anyone to vote for that I liked. I corresponded a little with Bob Barr. I almost voted for him, but I decided not to. At this point, I really don't have anyone to vote for. I may still vote. I'm undecided yet, but I'm looking at it. But I believe a person, after looking into it and looking over candidates, goes and votes their conscience with an intelligent decision on what reflects their views of the country and the laws in place. Okay? And do you feel Obama's doing that? I don't think it does, personally. I absolutely do not think it does from what you stated to me year after fucking year. It doesn't. Unless I'm out of my fucking mind. Which, you know, some people would probably say. I really don't see a candidate right now. But I might change on it. I'm going to look into it. I feel it's a duty to look into it with the system you have and to do what you can do. And if you can't work with it, there are other ways. I don't believe, and that's what I was saying about demagogues and gurus and religious. We believe in a priest to tell us who we are in religions, to tell us what we think, where you stand and sit obediently. The people act that same way, like in a church where there's no, you know, and then the demagogue has better public relations. You know, he can converse with people, he does a lot of stuff, and he gets into your homes way more than once a week in church. He's always in this. This political shit makes you sick, and it makes me too. But people look for transcendent value in it by being promised a political utopia. Surely this makes sense. Please. You know? You don't have to have heaven. Hey, you'll have the next 4 years. We'll kind of make it better. You know? We'll appease you, even though we don't give a fuck and we're taking big money with no integrity. I mean, show me where the burden of proof of this integrity is. Do you believe that money has power, or that people with no money have power? Money's always had power in this country. Slave owners had power. Except, you know, the industrialization took over where the slave owners were. It's really sad. Even Hamilton was against it one day. This would happen, and he said it would, with no integrity and money-grubbing bastards, and another system would have to come up to destroy it, with the banking clans, if it got out of control. And that would be the end of America, whether people want to admit it or not. And I say America's dead. It's a country, but not under the founding principles of the good ones, at least, that I see and respect. And there are a lot of them. The things I like and dislike. And as for responsibility and when to do this, I believe it's always now. I take responsibility for my community and Katrina and even Isaac and other problems when this was this is still the most incarcerated city in North America. This is a violent fucking place. You know, there are police everywhere and all kinds of problems. I was in court yesterday for traffic after being harassed by a cop, which I actually re-injured my groin in doing so because he harassed me so much. And I had to go to court. And that cost me time and money. But, you know, I'm not in jail, but I easily could be. I don't like a lot of these systems, and I'm against it. And I don't feel like I have any representation. And as for this promise of health care, I feel there's going to be another loophole somehow that they're not going to honor it. There's going to always be some of these corrupt bastards. You can't just offer some political promise and then expect people to carry it out and be ethical if you don't get to the foundation of problems and make people more aware. You can't have cognitively undeveloped, ignorant fucking people with a lot of money-grubbing bastards, okay, and unethical behavior and with a lack of integrity prevalent throughout the entire system where it has cancer, and expect it to be healthy and then to be well adjusted to that unhealthiness. That is sick. That's sick. And that's what we're doing. You wouldn't combat a medical problem this way. You wouldn't look at it in medical science. Why don't we examine it in that way? We're not looking at these things in the right way. It's not only unhealthy, it's sick. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I wanted to say something about Daedamot. You'd mentioned that that these people don't have a power base. Gary Johnson and Rocky Anderson and Jill Stein, all these third-party candidates, they don't have a power base to work from. And that's one reason they'd be ineffective even if they did win. Which you mentioned Obama as an example of that he was ineffective because he made too many compromises. I don't think that that's true. I think Voice of Reason and Galen would probably agree with me. They don't think that that's true either. I think that that's largely an excuse made by Obama supporters that, he was tricked by doing all the bad things by the Republicans. But I think you can see clearly by the evidence that, even though you did call it on that judge overturning the NDAA, but at the same time, Obama is fighting it fucking tooth and nail to keep it from being overturned. And what does that tell you? I mean, I think that's pretty clear. This was the guy who campaigned on closing Guantanamo, and he clearly had no fucking intention of that. He was a fucking liar. That's not somebody pressuring him or bullying him into a corner. He did this on purpose. He intended this shit. But that aside, okay, setting that aside, if we were to
invest in screen capturing technology,
that these people don't necessarily have power even if they were to win, and that they're not viable candidates because they can't garner even 1% of the vote. I would agree with you on that. But what's the reason for that? What's the reason that they can't even garner 1% of the vote? It's because nobody will vote for them. It's because of this exact argument. It's circular reasoning. Because you always end up in the same place. They can't win because I won't vote for them. Because they can't win because I won't vote for them. Because they can't win. It goes round and round. It's stupid. It's a stupid argument. Anybody who's even looking can see that it's a stupid argument. It doesn't even bear explaining. Because anybody with a fucking brain in their head already gets it. Like this is what's frustrating about this whole issue. Is I don't even understand why I have to go out of my way to address this. It's dumb. And the truth is, what you know and I know, okay, is that a vote for Obama is pointless. Because I live in Washington, you live in California, and our states are both going to Obama no matter what we do. We have no control over that. Even if we were both vehemently against Obama, our states would still go to him. So our vote, if it's for Obama, is pointless. If it's for Romney, still pointless, because the states are still going to Obama, right? Like, the only thing that even has a debatable impact is if you vote for somebody else. Because then the numbers show. When you say that these people aren't viable because they don't have a power base, because they don't even garner 1% of the vote, well, what if they did garner 1% of the vote? Because you voted for them and I voted for them, and they got some percentage of the vote. Then other people in the future wouldn't say they don't even garner 1% of the vote. You understand what I'm saying? They would say, they got 2%. Yeah, they would say, they don't even garner 5% of the vote. Maybe the argument would be the same. But you understand my point. There's something to be accomplished by voting for these people. There's nothing to be accomplished by voting for Obama. He doesn't represent your interests, for one, and your vote for him doesn't matter, for two. So I don't understand what is the motivation to vote for Obama. That's sincerely what I don't get, Daedamot. Why vote for him? What is the reason? Because I see none. I see no reason to vote for Obama.
I want to add something to that real quick, if no one minds. Not only that, but don't look at it just Obama, please. I want to make this more philosophical. Not that you're not being philosophical, Andrew. I know you are. But I want to keep this in context to Daedamot. I'm not like trying to beat you up or anything. I want you to understand that I'm trying to reason with you and think this through with you. I want to have a dialogue. I might state my points a bit aggressively at times because I feel strongly about them. But same thing with Romney. Why would someone vote for Romney? And you see him in the same thing, making these a majority appeals. And you know you've seen him do it. You know you have. Okay? And the other thing is, do you ever save money, Daedamot? Like, one of my mottos in life when I have money is, I have a thing where I called, keep it, what about me? It's my, you could call it my egocentric financial plan. What about me? You know, I save money. I mean, I earn money, right? We all get money somehow, whatever money we get. And then we're supposed to pay these bills, and we're supposed to pay everyone in the fucking world. You got an internet bill, there's something, anybody wants to tax or bill you for some shit, right? You know? Unless you have a goddamn lobbyist to get it off your back. But, your vote is yours. That's your vote. It's your right to do with it as you please. I think it's very sacred. If I don't want to vote, it's very personal to me, and I don't have to. I always thought you could go in and you could do whatever you wanted. That's my decision. But why would I give my individuality out to somebody else and be like, well, that's what conformists thought. I'm going to make an appeal to the majority. I want to just tell you, if I ever do that, I hope like someone that I know shoots me in the back of the fucking head, you know, or shoots me right up front. I don't want to ever do that. I mean, that's what you have. It's like the money. Why don't I carry for a paycheck 10% of my money and put it in a savings account? Because it's mine. I don't have to pay no one. It's my shit. It's mine. This is my fucking vote. And I can vote or not vote as I please. It's what I have a decision to do. I'm just trying to make this point to you. And you have that. That's your individuality. This is what you on this earth can do. And you can vote for anyone you want, but make it intelligent, make it smart, and what reflects your fucking heart. And if you're willing to do it, please argue out and talk about it if you want to. And if not, the same thing. But at least state it.
Alright, jeez, okay, damn it, hold on.
Who's to go?
No, I was gonna go. I just, okay. If it is gonna be short, go ahead with someone else.
Short.
Wait, can I say it really quick?
Say it.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, man, I was asked to not interfere because we aren't supposed to be ganged up on Daedamot, and then suddenly everyone's ganging up on Daedamot, so I was dead to say.
I asked Daedamot.
Oh, so we're supposed to ask Daedamot if we can give our opinions. Well, okay then. You know, I will just now troll on Doc for the rest of the night.
I'll tell you what. If I'm feeling like I'm being ganged up, I'm gonna kiss my dog here. Because at least he loves me.
No, I'm defending you tonight forever as... No, you're not ganging up on him because you were a part of the original conversation, Galen, you and Voice of Reason. But, like, I was gonna say something a while ago, and Andrew was like, oh no, because there's everybody else is talking to him, and I don't want it to seem like we're ganging up on him, you know? And then, like, suddenly Andrew was, like, telling his opinion suddenly.
I think...
When it,
No, I'm
anyways,
just
my
saying
point is,
right
like,
now,
I'm
I think I'm doing okay.
vote for Obama and all that jazz.
No, I appreciate your, you guys keeping it, you know, trying not to be too angry and all that stuff. Like, I do definitely appreciate it. I think I'm doing okay right now. I'm not gonna have a breakdown. I'm trying really hard, and, you know, I got back up here, so. Anyway, alright, let's see, where do we start? Okay, now, one of the arguments that Cerebro brought up was that the reason why they don't get more than 1% of the vote is because nobody votes for them, and this is true. But think about why that is. It's not just that people don't vote for them. It's mostly that people have not heard of them. And you're downplaying the influence that name recognition has in elections. Okay, if nobody's heard of you, they're not going to vote for you. Like, you know, all those people that put out signs in front of their houses that just all they say is Bob Barr, treasurer, or not even Bob Barr. I just picked the name because Galen mentioned Bob Barr earlier. But let's just say Bob Barr was running for treasurer. And they literally have nothing about what he's going to do. It's just